up, you guys? Marty Schwartz here with GuitarJams.com. This is another Riff-O-Matic series where I'm just showing, classic, easy little riffs, so you don't get overwhelmed if you're a beginner trying to learn an entire song. So I'm going to teach it to you right now. The first thing I'm going to do is talk about this guitar real quick because I used it in one of my Metallica lessons. And people were asking if I got a new guitar and all that stuff. And yeah, I did get a new guitar. But what this is actually, this is an entry-level guitar, which means, a beginner guitar, a great first guitar for someone to get. It's a company called Spectrum, and I first saw a Spectrum guitar when I was giving a guitar lesson. And it was a little kid, and he was playing, he pulled this guitar out, and I was like, oh, Spectrum, let me check that out. And so I played, I'm like, it's, plays really nice. Where'd you get it? And he said he got it at Costco, which is like kind of like a department store, which I didn't, you don't associate that with guitars, but they sell guitars online. They do great, they make these great entry-level guitars, which, this easily compares to a Fender Squier, which is like their entry-level guitar, but this is actually much more affordable than a Fender Squier. So I think it would be a good idea. You could click the link to the right, and I'm just putting a link up for their guitars, and you can check it out and see what they have to offer. So the first thing I'm going to do is teach it to you as like a straight beginner. Maybe even as the very first thing you would ever do on guitar, and then after that I'll teach you the way the riff's really played. Okay? So what we want to do is we're going to use our index finger, and we're going to use the tip of it on this string here. It's called the E string. And we're going to take it and we're going to put it on the 3rd fret of the guitar right there. Kind of think of it as the tip of your finger pressing down. Either somewhere in the middle of this area or a little bit closer to the next one going this way. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take that, and hopefully you've got a pick. And we're just going to pluck just that string that our index finger's on like this. And just play it one time. And that's the 3rd fret. 1, 2, 3. So we're going to go one time on the 3rd fret. Then we're going to bring it up to the 6th fret. So we go 3, 6, just like that. 3, 6. And the dots are here to help you kind of start to memorize the different fret areas. It's just a way to break it up so you can kind of start to memorize where the little spots go. So we have 3, 6, and then we're going to scoot it up to the 8th fret and hit that one. So we have 3, 6, 8. Check it out. 3, 6, 8. Okay, so we do that one time. 3, 6, 8. Then we're going to go 3, 6, 9, 8. So we go one higher than before, then back down. So we have 3, 6, 8, 3, 6, 9, 8. Then we're going to do the first little section again. 3, 6, 8. Then 6, 3. 3, 6, 8. 3, 6, 9, 8. 3, 6, 8, 6, 3. Oh yeah. Okay? So that's the first thing. You want to just start working on that, and it's super fun. The next thing you can do as a beginner, and even if you're not a beginner, this is a fun way to play this riff because you get the low note in there, is we turn them into power chords. And all you do is you keep track of that first finger, and then with your ring finger, you're going to have it be 2 frets higher on the next string over, and then you try and just strum those 2 strings, and that's called a power chord. Check it out. And you just lock this into a shape, and you move them those same distances while these 2 fingers stay in the same shape. So you can still keep track of that index finger. 3, 6, 8, 3, 6, 9, 8, 3, 6, 8, 6, 3. Alright, so start working on that. But if you want to learn it like how it really is played, then what we're going to do is this. I'm going to show it to you right now. So what we're going to do this time is I'm going to take my ring finger and I'm going to cover it over the 5th fret of the A and the D string and play both of those. That and that. That and that. Then I'm going to go to the 3rd fret and play the D and the G string, both of those together. So we have. Then I move my ring finger up and I'm going to play the 5th fret of the D and G string. Check it out. So if you look at my pick, then we're going to start the same way, but with my ring finger I can have it be slided up a half step and back while I'm plucking these 2 strings. Starts that same way. Then simply the 3rd fret of the D and G one time, and then ring finger back to the original point. Sorry. Check it out, the whole thing. Look at my fingers. Those 2, those 2, those 2. Then those 2, slid up and back. The other cool thing is one guitar player who's a little more experienced can play it that way. While another guitar player could just be doing the single finger. They go together. They're completely complementary of each other, or the regular power chord. So that's really cool to try with 2 different guitar players, mixing that up like that. Alright? So once again, Marty Schwartz here with GuitarJams.com. The website got DVDs and embedded videos. I'd say about 95% of them have never been on YouTube. And I really appreciate all the support. And if you want to check out a Spectrum guitar, it's a great beginner guitar. I recommend you clicking the link to the right to check that out too. See ya!
Allahu Akbar, may Allah protect us. We don't know anything. We have no clue. Let me give you one other example. This I was told by one of the mashayikh. He says, there was a man who was fulfilling salah. And he was an irregular, but he made his tawbah and he came to the masjid. So he arrived at Salatul Fajr. And I hope, my brothers and sisters, that not a single one of us misses Salatul Fajr tomorrow morning. Is there a promise? By the will of Allah. You know, inshallah means 2-3 things. I'm sure you're aware. When people say inshallah, then you say, are you coming to my house? I say inshallah. Then when they don't come, you say, did I say yes? I just said inshallah. You got to say yes, inshallah. So are we ready tomorrow morning, Fajr? And the other 4 salahs as well. MashaAllah. Not just Fajr. Okay. So this man walks in for Salatul Fajr and he's standing. And the Imam starts reading Surah Al-Baqarah. Okay. He reads Surah Al-Baqarah. And it's a nice long surah. You know, Surah Al-Baqarah is very long. So this man is standing and he's thinking, hey, this Imam is reading long. Now, one of the cries of the masjid, my beloved Imams who lead the salah, do not over-lengthen your salah. Stick to that which is sunnah. And understand it. And realize that when you lengthen your salah, sometimes you are discouraging the weak ones behind you from coming for the next salah. So if you are standing and reading beautifully, and the microphone is good, and mashallah, everything is beautiful and nice, and the weather is beautiful, and you are just prolonging, there are some of those Surah Baqarah people at the back, you know. So you need to remember they are still a bit weak, you know. So that is one of the cries of the masjid is, calm down, cool it a little bit. Maybe you rather read a bit shorter so they come back. And we don't want to read quick in a way that we are insulting Allah. Taraweeh time in the house of Allah, many of the Imams, They read like a Concorde. That's why they have stopped the Concorde now. Do you know that? Concorde is blocked, banned, finished, no more. All of them that are still there, they are just in museums because it's too fast. We have Concorde Salah. Alhamdulillah. What is that? Yeah? What is that? You are insulting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rather read short and clear than to read long and unclear, an insult to Allah. Who said you have to finish the Quran? To finish the Quran is a sunnah which is very great, but not at the expense of speed, never ever. Remember that. And this I am addressing us as imams who lead in the masjid. People say, I went and I listened to the whole Quran. That man used to finish Taraweeh in 10 minutes. Ah, what did you hear? You just heard the humming of a bee, that's all. Like a sound of a mosquito coming to your ear. And that's all you knew. May Allah protect us. So this man came in for salah and he's reading the Surah Al-Baqarah is being read. And at the end of the salah, you know, he looked at the man next to him, nudged him. He says, hey, this imam read very long. Which surah did he read? So he says, it is called Surah Al-Baqarah, which means the cow. And it is the longest surah in the Quran. So he said, okay, now I must ask before I start my salah, which surah is being read? So Al-Baqarah was very, very long. So now he came for Salatul Maghrib, the poor fellow, and he started Allahu Akbar. So Imam finished Walad Dhalin and he starts Alam tara kayfa fa'ala rabbuka bi ashabil fil. So this man nudges the other one and says, you know what, before you start, what surah is this? He says, this is the elephant, Al-Fil. So that man says, if Baqarah was so long, I'm sure Fil must be even longer, let me go away. My brothers and sisters, remember, this is the attitude and mentality of some of the public, because they are weak. So he says, no, this is one of the shortest surahs in the Quran. The reason I'm saying this, many reasons, there are many benefits for all of us, but one of them is, we have not yet made an effort to know the surahs and their meanings. That is why we do not achieve the sweetness within the salah. I have had occasions where I have led personally some long salawat of Salatul Fajr, and some people have come to me and told me, Sheikh, you should have read even longer, the meaning was so powerful. Subhanallah, that is the type of statement we need. But we don't know the meaning, we're not bothered. Like I always say, we've studied so many books in order to achieve all those ology degrees we spoke about moments ago. But we haven't studied the one book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nor have we studied the sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It requires an effort, it requires dedication, it requires time off work, it requires a lot. You have no guarantee that you will live to old age when you can do that. So let's do it as soon as we can.